Hello, my beauties, and welcome back to the channel. I am Cher, and I am so excited. It's a beautiful day because the new Hourglass palette that I ordered has arrived. We're gonna play with it today. We're gonna do a little try on. This is the very first customizable Hourglass palette. So I customized mine to my skin tone. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. Options. Wanted to give you a feel for the colors and how you might want to customize if you have a similar skin tone to mine. So if that interests you, stick around and we're going to dive right on into Hourglass. All right, guys. So we're just going to do a little try on with it and show you a couple of the other things that I got with the palette. Talk about the customization a little bit and shade options. Compare it maybe to a much deeper tone palette that I have. So let's get into it. Just in chatting about these new customizable palettes, what you're gonna get is, you know, a palette that they're going to fill with the shades and options you have chosen. And I wanna kind of put in here what it looked like. I kind of did a little reel and short for you earlier where I showed you while I was customizing it. Unfortunately, you're not just going to be able to pick whatever random colors and shades of anything. It's going to walk you through 4 steps. You're going to pick a finishing powder, you're going to pick a blush, you're going to pick a bronzer, and you're going to pick a highlight. I think the order of it might have been bronzer, then blush, then highlight. So you're not going to be able to just pick like a whole bunch of finishing powder colors or a whole bunch of blush, make it a blush palette. You know, it is going to be more the 4-step face, but they're letting you pick your shades in it. So you have several different shades in each of these 4 slots and categories. So I did get the question on that was, are they going to let you just pick whatever? At the moment, I think you've just got to follow those steps. But what is fantastic about it is, you know, everybody's been asking for this for so long. They've made these kind of palettes, but it's always been ones that they made and the colors they chose in them. And so for a long time, I think, especially when you're paying $70 range price tags here, you know, high-end luxury brand, it would be really nice to be able to customize and match it to your shades. Now, what they tend to do is when they come out with a compact, a lot of them are very much the same. Like, if you kind of get one palette, to be honest, I think you're kind of good for the most part, because there's not a lot of variation between a lot of their new release face palettes. Sometimes you might want to go for the packaging, but a lot of them are so similar. But what they'll do is they'll do like 3 different shade ranges within that palette. So you might have some that are more geared towards your lighter skin tone, some that are more medium ranges, and some more deep. Now, the only other one that I actually own that's a face palette from Hourglass is the Lotus. And I did not go for the lighter one that matches my skin tone in this. I went for the deeper one. But I did it because I just loved the packaging on it. And they had the other ones, like there's one with the dragon, there's one with like the eyeball. I wanted the lotus flower. It's just so pretty. It's just so me. So I did this one, and because I use these in such a versatile way, you know, I'll use all the colors out of them for different things other than what they're geared toward. And that's a little bit more of what I want to show you too, is I tend to use these products not just for like blush. I'll use blush for eyeshadow also. You know, I make it very versatile. So I'm going to do eyeshadow and we'll see how that goes with the palette today too. But this one's the Lotus Flower one. So as you can see, much deeper skin tones in there, but I make it work for me still. I make it work, but it's not as it's intended on this one. So we can kind of compare. I think what I ended up getting is about as light tone, almost as light tone as you can get. I was trying to go more for very light and neutral. I'm a neutral skin tone, so I didn't really want to go more rosy toned or more warm tone. Either way, I went with kind of your standard, like for a light skin tone. I'm usually not the fairest, but I'm pretty light. And then neutral. So I could go anyway because I'm a neutral skin tone. I can kind of pull off a lot of the shades, honestly. But this time I went with like kind of the complete opposite of what I had in the deeper, you know, lotus flower one. And I don't think I picked any repeats. I don't know, maybe my bronze. No, I don't think I have any repeats out of these two. So after they've customized your palette, they're still going to list on here for you what shades you picked. So that's great. They're still listing them all on here as if it was already made, other than being made specifically for me, right? So I first chose for my finishing powder right here, Celestial Strobe Light. This one right here, it was the neutral and the light of some of the shades. Some are going to gravitate a little more rosy. Some are going to gravitate a little bit more warm. And there might be a little bit higher up the line as far as how deep the skin tone goes. So I've already swatched some of these for you guys. You can see that the finishing powder is this one, and it's not really showing up for you because it's pretty close to my skin tone. So I think I did pretty well at it. You can see a little hint of it, maybe a little pinkier than me, but that's a pretty good match, I think. I think the second step that they have you pick is the bronzer, if I remember that correctly. So here is the bronze shade I went with. And this one was called the Lustrous Bronze Light. Here it is swatched for you there. So the bronzer, yeah, it might match. It looks pretty light on my hand here, but when you start looking at it on the face, I think it's going to give a nice natural bronze. It's not going to be the most pigmented, really deep, but I think that that probably was a good pick. I think I ended up picking the right bronze as well. Again, for a fairly light skin tone. Now, on that one, you could go warmer or pinkier too. Then blush is the next step. Blush was the hardest one to choose because there were so many colors. And on that one, you don't have to stick to like, okay, here's the one for cool tone, here's the one for warm tone. There's so many different picks and options on it. And, you know, a lot of them look so pretty. But I figured that because in my Lotus palette, I've got a lot more. I've got this like really pink tone one right here. You know, we've also got a couple of lighter ones that could go slightly warmer, but I wanted to go a little warmer and coral-like. I didn't really have coral so much. So I ended up choosing that one, and it's still a fairly light one, but obviously the coral is going to be your warmer tone ones. So I could have gone anyway. There was just so much range, so many to choose from on blush. And as you can see, you know, it's a pretty like flat blush, Hourglass. You know, I'm not sure that there's anything particularly special on their blushes, but it's especially on their finishing powder that they really, that's where they have the formula. And on their pretty highlight, I think. Those are probably the two that I think are gorgeous. And we're going to try out the bronze. Yeah, I think it's like these together that make a really beautiful, glowing, natural look. They're a little harder to beat Hourglass on, I think. I forgot to tell you the name of the blush is Lucid Glow. And then the last step is the highlight. So on this one, it was, yeah, they goofed. They goofed. Okay. They called the highlight finishing powder. Did they do this on my Lotus palette? Let's look. Yeah, I think they messed up on the customization, guys. They have 2 finishing powders is what they called them. One of them is not a finishing powder though. One is a highlight. But they put number 1 and number 4, they called a finishing powder. I think it was the dim light that was the finishing powder. And I think the highlight was the celestial strobe light, if I'm remembering that from memory. So, we're their guinea pigs on this very first customization, and I think they've goofed. Wow, that is something, isn't it? Interesting. Okay, I chose one of the ones. There was a couple you could go with for light skin tones. And there was one that was a lot more blinding looking. I like my highlight very pigmented, very pigmented. I want it to shine from space. Now Hourglass is not one of those that is so pigmented. It's not like Ofra. Like I love Ofra as my highlight because they're so pigmented in theirs. Hourglass is a lot more natural of a shine. But I'm usually going to pick the most pigmented highlight. This was not the most pigmented, but the reason I chose this one was I felt it was just a little more leaning towards a neutral skin tone than the other one. But I probably could have gone either way. So that ended up being this one. And then here is that one swatched on my hand for you. It's a lot more of a champagne color. I tend to not like gold as much in my highlight. I usually either like a very like champagne color or a pink tone one or a silver like white one. Those are like my 3 favorite highlights. So I went with the champagne and going with, we have sort of a more warmer tone, I think, like, you know, with the coral and all. I just felt like this was the perfect shade. I think your champagne's going to be the most neutral of some of those colors. Not too warm leaning and not too cool leaning. So that was how I chose the customization. So again, just a very light toned natural looks. So now we're going to play with it all. Now to go along with it, you will notice when you customize your palette, they're going to offer you kind of an add-on. They're going to recommend a couple different brushes to you to go with it. I have always wanted this one and I tried to pick it up on the Sephora sale and it was not in store at the time. So I went ahead and got it with this order instead to play with the brush. This one's larger, so it may not be as appropriate for this smaller palette, but this is the one I've been wanting forever. But they had another similar version or one that's just a single-sided brush, but I always wanted this dual one. And this is the Veil Powder Brush. Woohoo! So I got this one as well. We're gonna play and see how I feel about it. Oh my goodness, it feels so good. And then along with this order, they sent 2 samples we could choose. Okay, I have been wanting to do this forever, so this was a no-brainer. It's the Unreal Liquid Blush. Why I didn't pick up all their blushes, I don't know. And this is the shade Scene that they sent. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that too for you. We may not play with it. I don't know, we'll see. I'll definitely try the lip that I got, which I'll show you in a minute. But since I'm already gonna be wearing blush from the compact, I mean, I guess we could layer the blushes maybe, but I did want to show you specifically the compact and playing with it today. So we'll see. That's pretty. And check out the shape of the doe foot. It's kind of got this like hourglass shape to it. So I see you, Hourglass, with your hourglass doe foot. Woo! So yes, very excited to get to try that as my sample. And then the last sample they sent was the Phantom Volumizing Glossy Balm. So we'll definitely put this one on today. Oh, okay. And you're getting actually 4 samples. I'm getting 4 different shades in this. I thought I was going to be getting a little mini stick, but it's just going to be in the little sample. So we'll pick one of them that probably goes best with our look today. But I've got Scents, which matches this shade. It might be a little too pinky tone though for today. We've got Mist, Slip, and Haze. I'll probably go with Mist for our look today. All right, so let's get started now trying out the custom palette and see how it looks on my skin and make sure I did choose the right shades. All right, I'm gonna first start off with my bronze. Pretty, so pretty, y'all. And I'm going with a pretty like angled brush. I can go with a fluffier one, but I feel like this will probably be such a not as like pigmented that I can go a little more concentrated. That is beautiful. I think that is a good color. So it's not too crazy. I think it's just right. And look at how, I don't know, it just glows. It's just so natural and glowing. So I know that a lot of people wonder, is Hourglass really worth the price? I'm kind of bringing it into my neck a little bit here. I think that there is just this formula in the bronze that is like hard to beat in the bronze, and then the finishing powder, like maybe a little bit in the highlight too. It's just, it's a beautiful formula, like really pretty glow. It's just a very glowy finish is the best way I know how to describe it. So I've got it on one side of the face just so to see if you guys can see the difference. And then I'll put it on the other side. And just so you know, I'm wearing more of like a beauty balm underneath, like as my base right now. So I don't have a really heavy like foundation or anything. I just have on like a light base. I should have worn the Hourglass foundation and it's just done a full-blown Hourglass makeup video today, but oh well. Okay, here it is. Beautiful. Now the same bronzer that I just put on my face, I'm also applying to my eyes. So I went ahead and did a little bronze to kind of contour the eyes. So you can kind of see a slight difference between the two sides. But so I'm just gonna kind of do the windshield wiper back and forth here. And it makes a nice transition color on the eyes too, just to give it like a little bit of shadowing contour, but without too much. So works great under the eyes too. I'm also going to bring it under the eyes. Give you a little bit of definition under them, like eyeliner. I'm using a fluffy brush still, but you could go with a more precise one. I do fluffy so that it kind of brings it further down and gives me a little more blending. So I always go kind of versatile on these kind of palettes a lot of times. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blush out of this and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the eyes too. I'll try it with a packing brush first, and then I might just use my fingers. Yeah, see, that's pretty. Now we've got a little bit of peach going on in there. Peachy coral. And then we're trying it on the cheeks. So I got a little pop here, but we're going to put a little more in there. And yeah, so we are very matchy-matchy with the eyes, I know. I think it's pretty with that coral. I'm probably not wearing the right shirt today. I'm sorry, guys, because my face is a little more warm toned. And sometimes it throws you off when the clothes don't match. We got very cool tone with a warm tone here, but. All right, let's try the highlight now. First, I'm going to use it as actual highlight. Beautiful. That is glowing enough for me. That's pretty pigmented, isn't it? Okay, then I'm going to just use my fingers for this. I'm gonna pop a little bit in the center of my eye here. Give us some shimmer on that peachy eyeshadow. Just kind of in the center where, you know, the light naturally hits. Pretty. And then we're gonna bring it in the inner corner too. Beautiful. And along the brow bone. I am going to pop on a little bit of like just a touch of eyeliner and mascara, and then we'll play with the finishing powder. All right, now that we got a little bit touched up, this is the step where I feel like Hourglass shines. This is where you can't beat them. It's their finishing powder. It's just, and I hope that it picks it up on camera. And I have another just separate like pressed powder, I think in the same shade maybe. But this is where you just, we're gonna come back in. Like I'm especially gonna set, you don't use it for setting powder, different from finishing powder. This just kind of goes over the whole face to almost like blend all your colors together almost. Almost the same idea as like a setting spray, but it's in powder form. It really finishes your look. It helps, it does help with mattifying a little bit more, but it really like morphs and blends it all. So it's not harsh lines. It just gives you that airbrushed look. And I want to see if you can kind of see the difference on this side of the face versus this one. Can you tell? There is this like extra almost glaze. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a glaze or like a glow in a way. Now I am just kind of dusting it. I did circular motions. I don't always do this with finishing powders, but I like to do it this way with Hourglass because it just really morphs it all together so pretty. But yeah, see how it just, it's like this all over glow on this side of my face. Can you tell the difference? And then look at this side. Yes, there's glow from the highlight, but everything is still kind of patchy over here. This side is like, it's stunning. And I really feel like this is the Hourglass formula. So let's put a little bit more on this side. And I love this brush. Ooh, I love it. So I'm going to just kind of bake it all on top. Not bake it, but yeah. So look at that. Do you see what happened? Once I put that powder up there, I started seeing it really smooth out. It started morphing together. Beautiful. You can buy this separately and they're just pressed powder forms, but this right here is what makes the 75. Is it 75 for these palettes? That's what makes it worth it. Right there. I'm going to try it with the big fluffy brush too, just to compare. I like it better with the smaller one. You're going to get into the corners more. But still, yeah. All right, so here is a finished look from just the palette. Maybe we can try the samples now, but I wanted you to see this first. Overall, I think it works beautifully. Again, very subtle, natural glowing, great palette for traveling, your upscale luxury palette for traveling, because it has so much in one. You can definitely do your eyeshadow, you can do your blush, bronze, finishing powder, and highlight all in one. You're still going to want a setting powder too, but sometimes when I'm traveling, I'll just use the finishing powder. And I skip that step, honestly. Let's try out the liquid blush now. Not going to be quite the right color. We're going a little cooler toned here, but I just want to give it a run. Let's just see how it goes. Actually, why don't we first do the lipstick? so that we'll have a final look with the lipstick, so that if this cool tone blush throws us off, at least we will have seen the finished look. Okay, I'm gonna come down here to Slip. Try that out first. I just feel like it's a little warmer leaning. That's pretty, but it's always hard to tell, y'all, how moisturizing it is from samples. Because these brushes are terrible, the disposable ones. I use them in professional makeup too. Actually, I don't even fool around with these anymore for lips. I usually do my own lip brushes that I can sanitize and everything between, because these are awful. The cotton just absorbs so much. But it feels good from what I can tell. Pretty fun color, but it's still a little cooler tone. So yeah, that was the Phantom. I will have to check more of these out. All right, so we have kind of a finished look. Here we are. So let's try out this blush now. The Unreal, I've been dying to try this. That is exciting. I'm just going to go ahead and put it straight on. Yeah, definitely cooler toned on this one. Pretty. Ooh, and that's gorgeous how it kind of blended in with that highlight too. Ooh, I love that. Oh, gorgeous. I love the liquid blush more than the blush in this palette, but I'm a liquid blush girl. I love very dewy. Now it's picking up on my age spots more, but that usually happens, especially in a more mauve colored blush. That's what tends to happen. And that's why I sometimes go more with like coral, because it doesn't pick up on my age spots as much. It's color theory. It just color correcting and all of that, you know, how you layer because of the colors of my age spots really. But no, that's beautiful. I'm going to put a little bit more of the finishing powder on top of that. Just kind of morph everything together even more. And voila. Beautiful. Love it all. I love it all. All right, so that's it. Let's take this out. And here's my look today. It's really just this spot that's bothering me, and sometimes I just have to start my blush over here. It is what it is. 47. But yeah, that's gorgeous. Love it. It's beautiful, natural, and glowing. And so hopefully that was helpful. If you have a skin tone similar to mine, I think that the colors I picked are probably about perfect for that natural, you know, look that's going to match and just be beautiful. Yeah. So very excited about it. Hopefully that helped you. I will go ahead and swatch up some of these deeper tones for you though, really quick, just so you can tell, you know, if you're looking for other shades that are deeper than this. I'm going to give you the colors that I do have. Okay, so here is the Lotus Flower all swatched up for you. It looks like lighter skin tones on here. That's why I feel like I still really pulled this one off. I think the biggest one that stands out is the highlights, just a little darker. It's not going to be as light and pop on light skin. It's going to almost be darker on light skin. As you can see, like your front row is lighter here. So you could kind of make that work for lighter skin tones. This is a very light toned blush. This is finishing powder though. And can you see it still has that kind of glaze, that shine to it, right? This is highlight also, but you could wear this very much as more of a highlighty blush, in my opinion. I don't feel like this really pops on anybody, even the deeper skin tones. I feel like this is more of a highlighty blush. This is your deep blush though, and this is your little bit deeper bronze. So here are the names Gilded Strobe Light on the highlight. Blush is Desert Flush. Finishing powder is Eternal Light. The highlighter that's more rosy is Radiant Rose Strobe Light. Your blush is Red, and your bronzer is Bronze Heat. Now, I almost went with Bronze Heat, honestly, on my customized one, but I went with the lighter one. So that's just a nice like contrast for you. So if you want to go a little darker, deeper, those are some shades for you to look at, because some of those are definitely offered in the customization for you. This is your lighter, much lighter. So, but it's you know, as you can see, we're leaning lighter corally in this round, not as cool toned. Just wanted to kind of give you the options there. And so that really wraps it all up, guys, for today. So make sure that if you want to see more Hourglass, because I do love Hourglass, I probably will be shopping most of the time when they have a new release. And more luxury, I mostly focus on cruelty-free luxury though. So an Hourglass is one of those that meets checks all my boxes. And that's why I love them so much, partly too. And more curations, reviews, try-ons, all the fun beauty we do here. You don't want to miss it all. Pop that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.